The card is absolutely stacked for UFC Saudi Arabia, which starts at 7 p.m. on Saturday evening. Can Israel Adesanya reclaim his stake as a legitimate title contender in the middleweight division? All this and more coming up next on Fighting with Friends. Welcome back to Fighting with Friends, the undisputed African fighting podcast champion of the world. And speaking of champions, ladies and gentlemen, I have with me today the reigning defending undisputed vegan champion of the world. That is, of course, Brother Gaia.
Yo, what's
happening,
up?
Brother
What's up?
Gaia?
Sawadee Krap, Sawadee Krap. I'm good, bro. How's it?
All G, bro. Excited for this card that we have
Very
ahead
much.
of us.
I am.
Just to let you guys know, we are only breaking down the main, co-main, and featured bout for this. You can catch our detailed analysis in the parlay episode, which will be dropping tomorrow. So please
Mhm.
keep an eye out for that. And if you are here, why don't you hit that subscribe button before you leave? So BG, as always, we start at the top of the card, and here we have a middleweight bout where we see the
Mhm.
last style-bended Israel Adesanya coming up against Nassourdine Imavov. Israel Adesanya 24-4, last fight, of course, losing to the middleweight champion of the world, Dricus du Plessis, and this could be 3 out of 3 losses if this one goes awry for him. He's
Mhm.
coming up against Nassourdine Imavov, who is 15-4 on a 3-fight streak last time, beating Brendan Allen by unanimous decision. So, BG,
Mhm.
is this going to be one of those y'all must have forgot moments, or do you think Mr. Imavov has anything for Adesanya here?
I was actually going to end my analysis with you almost forgot, but I won't do that anymore. I do think it's going to be one of those kind of performances, AD. I think he's going to go in there and show up again because when he fought Dricus in his last fight, I mean, we said now it could potentially be 3 losses in a row. Granted, those other fights were against Alex Pereira and Dricus and Sean Strickland. Um, in in that fight against Dricus, he didn't look bad at all. Let's be real. He didn't. The fight was very competitive. There's moments where he had Dricus looking a bit shocked. He had Dricus double or rethinking his entries. You know what I mean? So Easy was doing really well up until the fact that Dricus was actually just doing a bit more. So based on that, I think he's going to show up here and does what he does best. Particularly because Nasruddin Imavov's style is going to almost invite that kind of fight for both of them. They're both kickboxers. They both love to strike. Granted, Nasruddin Imavov can grapple as well, but his grappling isn't really the kind of grappling where it's going to be very offensive wrestling. He's going to chain wrestle you, switch different positions, look for submissions. He's usually the kind of guy that will wrestle you when he's kind of ran out of options and he can't strike any further. And this is a bit tired. I want to secure the round, back take, keep you down there for the last 35 seconds and win the round. That's usually when you see him like do his wrestle. Sometimes he'll try and ground and pound you, but not enough kind of wrestling where I can say he can actually beat Easy with it. Easy's fought some very good wrestlers, Jamblo, which is one of them, and he was able to get back up most of the time. So he's got very good defensive wrestling, and that's what made Easy so dangerous for those dominant years that he did have. So Nasruddin Imavov hasn't really shown anything different or something that we could say that could actually be Easy. You know what I mean? I would go as far as to say that
Mm.
Caio Baralio's actually would be a better test for Easy than Nasruddin Imavov. To be exact, I feel like Nasruddin Imavov is going to make the fight. His style organically is gonna wind up having this fight be a kickboxing match, and that's gonna favor Easy a bit more. Nasruddin Imavov, you'll notice when he gets his most damaging kind of shots, he's usually first starting the fight off the back foot, navigating opponents, not necessarily pushing the pressures yet. And usually when he lands from the back foot, which is one of his hooks, then you see him putting that pressure on forward, leading with his jab. Whereas Easy, he takes the pace from the first round almost till the very end. It's what he does best. So I kind of struggle to see. Sound like I'm making. I shouldn't sound like a very bad matchup here, but he's very good. He's deserved of the fifth spot in the current standings in the middleweight, and I just think he's a little too out of reach for that top third of the division, and that's obviously Easy Dricus, Whittaker, Chimaev, Strickland. I think he's just out of reach. I mean, Strickland also beat him before the three
Mm.
fight winning streak, so something to think about. I think Easy's just going to piece him up for the 5 rounds. I don't know if he's going to get the stoppage.
Yeah, I wish I had something more controversial to say here, BG, but unfortunately, I'm inclined to agree with you here. I see
Hmm.
this as being pretty straightforward for Adesanya on the night. Um, I agree with a lot of what you said. Izzy did
Hmm.
look fantastic against Rickus until the finish.
You did.
So yeah, unfortunately, I can't see any result here for Imavov.
You sound
Um,
disappointed, bro.
yeah, look, I mean, it's boring, man. It's boring if we both agree. At least it'd be a bit
Yes,
more to
yes.
discuss if there was a counter opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of in a world of if and buts, bruh, how
Mhm.
does Imavov get it done if he does get it done?
I think what a good key to victory for Mavov is not to make the fight one dimensional. I think to beat Easy, you got to make it a dog fight. If you look at the fights that Easy did lose in the UFC, it's when opponents walked him down, made him uncomfortable, wrestle him, don't let him kind of force him to reset before he has to enter every single time, make him rethink what he has to do, and that's when he did lose in the UFC. So I think Imavov, if he can, because he can wrestle, and he's not incompetent when it comes to the grappling. He's very competent when it comes to the grappling, better than Easy. He's very good defensively, but Imavov can be offensive wrestling as well. So I think if he can make the fight with utilizing MMA, you know, gives him a very good chance. Force the clinch, even if you're not winning with knees, force the clinch, throw an inward elbow in the clinch, just make it uncomfortable, make the fight look like you're the one that's actually making Easy play at your game. Because I think if he's going to
Mm,
make it a kick fight with Easy, he's going to lose every single round. So if he can make it uncomfortable for Israel, especially in that first two rounds, where he's staying into the void, checking leg kicks, closing the distance, even if you're coming in aggressively and then reaching the clinch from there, getting Easy back up against the cage, I think that's where his keys to victory is going to be a lot easier said than done because Easy likes to move a lot, obviously. But they're
mm,
both very boxers in the Imavov has got he's a good fighter going backwards. So I think if he can the way Easy was playing possum against Pereira, I think if he can sort of lure Easy into that moment of false sense of security and then make it a grappling exchange, reverse him when your back is against the cage, basically give Israel Adesanya different looks instead of just giving
mm.
him the stand up look. That's you start there, you're giving yourself a chance to beat him.
Nicely done, BG. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree there. If it comes down technique for technique, I have a feeling that Imavov's going to be looked to be made quite silly on the night. So yeah, hopefully
Yeah.
he's watching and hopefully he'll take your advice there and make it a dogfight. But of course, as always, ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comments your thoughts on this one. And if Imavov does in fact have any keys to victory,
Hmm.
let us know if you disagree with myself and BG. We're always up for the
Please.
conversation. So yeah, let us know in the comments. But BG, any final thoughts here before we keep it moving?
I think my last thought that I think I should touch base on is Nassourdine Imavov has got nothing to lose coming into this fight. If you think about it, apart from losing the ranking and chance to make a title run, but it's like in his mind, he's like Israel has been there. You know what I mean? He's looked beatable, and this is my time, and this is my shot. You know what I mean? I'm going in there with everything that I need to go in there with a lot of power to actually beat someone like this. You know what I mean? That could be a very dangerous opponent for Israel. Um, Fighting someone that's like, granted, he's fought so many up and coming dogs his whole life. Let's be honest, he has. But at some point, it does catch up to you, man. He's getting older, and
Mm.
someone's younger, and then the new dog is going to have to at some point take the throne. Yeah, I know it's
Yeah,
Dricus right now, but in this fight in particular, I think Imavov is coming in with that kind of mindset, like it's my time. I'm going to take this guy out of here. You know?
yeah, that's a very good point. I think BG. I think if anything, that would be kind of the chip on his shoulder that Imavov needs here. He
Yeah.
is kind of the up and comer, and Izzy
Yes.
has been at the top of the division. He has been on a bit of a slide recently, so he's kind of there for
Mm.
the taking a little bit,
He's there for
especially
the
for someone
taking.
on a three-fight streak. You know what I mean?
Fact.
So yeah,
Fact.
maybe we are overlooking it, and obviously the age is going to be a
Mm.
factor here. So yeah, maybe more of a chance than we're letting off here. But yeah, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, of course, let us know your thoughts. We're very interested to hear those.
And
Yeah.
And lastly, like Marvel fought his way up to this point. Like
Mm,
we have to look at that body of work that he has done. You know what I mean? He's beaten Cannonier. You know what I mean? He's beaten Brennan Allen really badly in the last fight. So it's like he's made his way up deservedly to this point. So it's not like he got the shot on a fluke. There's obviously a reason
mm.
behind it, and I think it's one of the very few good matchups that the UFC's putting together, not based on status, but based on actual martial art. I think it's a very good matchup for both these guys.
Yeah, yeah, agreed. All right, BG. In that case, we'll skate and we'll go to another middleweight bout here. This one, of course, highly anticipated here, and here we see Sharo the Bullet Magomedov coming up against MVP Michael Venom Page. Shara Bullet, of course, is undefeated 15-0. His last
Mm-hmm.
fight beating Arman Petrosian with that ridiculous double spinning back fist. Just one of the knockouts of the year, surely. And his opponent isn't too bad either. MVP, who is 22-3. He's 1-1 in the
Mm-hmm.
UFC. His last fight, he lost to Ian Gary by
Yeah.
unanimous decision. So I think the main narrative coming in here is obviously two fantastic strikers, very
Mm-hmm.
showy, very creative strikers. But I have heard a kind of these whispers about Shara possibly pulling out the grappling here.
Mm-hmm.
So my question here, BG, is for you: does MVP have the striking advantage here?
Um, I think he does. I think both of them are Taekwondo specialists, even though they fight in kickboxing, but they are first and foremost Taekwondo specialists. That's why they got that flashy kickboxing style that looks so insane to watch. The warang. Um, so I do think I'm gonna agree with you on that one, 80. That I do think Michael Venom Page is the slightly more superior striker. I do think that Shara does have the advantage in terms of that he's younger, he's more fresh, he's undefeated. He looks to have a little bit more power than Michael Venom Page. Um, I don't know, but I don't know who's gonna win it. To be honest with you, but I will say this: because of the fight, I think they actually almost evenly matched in kickboxing, and that's primarily their best style. I do believe that between these two gentlemen, the one who's actually going to introduce some kind of wrestling, whether it's clinch work or wrestling, is going to put himself in an advantage to win the fight. Because I do believe that if they stand up for a very long time, we could see a fight where they might cancel each other out. Very similarly to the Michael Venom Page and Ian Machado Gary fight, where they standing was Gary was clever. Gary was like, if I stand very long with this guy, I can evade him, strike with him, maybe even get something on him, but he also might get me. But that could also be a boring fight. Safer way to beat this man is to beat him with wrestling, clinch him up against the cage, take away his weapons, force him into a fight where he can't actually strike you, but he has to wrestle with you now. That's how you beat Michael William Page. It's also how you beat Shara Bullet. So that's what I'm saying. It comes down to these two guys. If they both look to knock each other out, I don't know if they're going to land it because they're both extremely elusive. They can dodge really well. So it's hard to knock these two kind of fighters out. So
Mm.
mm, I think the one who clinches first, the one who shoots for takedowns first, um, puts himself an advantage in the judge's eyes and gets the job done that way.
So do you think that MVP is going to try to utilize some wrestling then? Or do you
I
think that
highly
would
doubt
be
it.
something that he, because I mean, you're saying the first person to shoot. So are
Yeah.
you implying that MVP might resort to wrestling?
Um, yeah. So basically, whoever's going to be dominating on the feet, who forces for the other one to shoot, comes down to that. I'm going to go with MVP to win here. I think he's going to take Shadow Bullets. In this fight, to be honest with you. Um, because I think he's got one of the best takedown defenses. Granted that it looked bad against Machado, and I was shocked to see that because in Bellator he made a career out of not being taken down and knocking people out,
Mm.
and pulling people into flying knees and stuff. So that's going to be trickier to do against someone like Shara Bullet, who's equally as good at doing the same thing. What I'm keen to see here is who's going to introduce some tie clinching. You know, they don't have to
Mm.
go. They don't have to go to full wrestling mode, but you use the clinch, drop an elbow in the clinch, get close. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Don't
yeah.
just kickbox because if it's going to be kickboxing, it's going to be a 3 round fight, and it's going to go to points.
Yeah, like for me, bro, I think that clinching game is gonna favor Shara Bullet more because I think that
Mm,
for
mm.
MVP it's not gonna be necessary for him to resort
Sorry,
to those kinds of things.
is that a real picture? Sorry, I've never seen that before.
It's on the internet, so it must be real. Um, but yeah, I don't think MVP is gonna have to gonna have to resort to those types of things because his reach advantage is ridiculous, bro. And
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
I do think he possesses the speed advantage in this fight. So
yes.
I think if the fight does stay on the feet, I think it could be a long night for Shara, and he's going to be the one that's going to need to try and close the
That,
distance. So when it does come to the clinch game, I think that could possibly be something that he
mm,
utilizes. Uh,
mm-hmm,
but unfortunately, again, like yourself, I'm going to have to also go with MVP on this one. I just think the
mm-hmm,
striking's too good. Um, the point you made about him making a career about not being taken down at Bellator also is a
yeah,
very good one. So yeah, for me, I'm also gonna go with MVP here.
mm-hmm.
So BG, any final thoughts on this one before we keep it moving?
Final thought: I do believe that Chada Bullet has got to beat the judo. He's got some good judo throws in him. I don't know if MVP can do that. So it would be interesting to see once, which I agree with the fight goes to the point where Shara is having to now, wrestle or use a clinch work because he's getting maybe pieced up a little bit. I do think that he can use some judo throws, some judo trips that can get him advantages. So
Mm.
look out for that as well. It's gonna be a very interesting fight. Very very interesting fight, this one.
Absolutely agreed. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, let us know in the comments your thoughts on this one. But in that case, we're going to skate to the heavyweight division. And here we see Sergei Pavlovich coming up against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Sergio Pavlovich is 18-3. Last time he lost, of course, to Alexander Volkov by unanimous decision. Jairzinho Rozenstruik is 15-5. Last fight winning against Tai Tuivasa by split decision.
Mhm.
So BG, I mean, whenever we see heavyweights, we assume someone going to sleep. Is
Yeah.
that how you see this one playing out, or I mean, we saw Rozenstruik Tuivasa wasn't quite the case. So
Yeah.
what
I was
what are
just
your
gonna
thoughts?
say, because that fight we were all banking on we bet our house, our cars that fight was
Yeah,
gonna go to not gonna go the distance.
yeah.
Particularly because they're both very good strikers, and anyone in the heavyweight really. In this fight in particular, I don't think that it's gonna go the distance. I think Pavlovich is the kind of fighter that if he's not being taken down, he's gonna try and finish you. He's gonna try and beat you with any
Mm,
avenue in the fight. That's just how he goes at it. I mean, he only lost to what's his name, Espinal and Volkov, right? Who was the third person that beat him? Let me just check here quickly. Not important,
Aspinall and
but
Volkov, yeah.
yeah, Espinal and Volkov was the most recent ones we can go on top of our head. But I'm drawing attention to those two victories because those are very interesting keys on how you can beat someone like Pavlovich because he's such a heavy raging bull kind of fighter, but we're also very, very how's that, he's got very good technique, even though he's got this raging bull Tasmanian devil kind of fighting style. He's got good technique in his boxing, and he's the kind of fighter Pavlovich now. He's the kind of fighter that he's always going to hunt for the finish, whether he has to take you down and elbow you or submit you, whether he has to strike you and knock you out. He's the kind of fighter that doesn't look to fight for the judges. He wants to end it with his hands only, which is what
Mm,
I admire about him. But when he lost to Tom Aspinall, he just got bamboozled up, bulldozed by Tom Aspinall. And Volkov just knows him his entire life, so Volkov knew how to beat him by keeping him and keeping him at bay. I don't know if Jairzinho Rozenstruik can do the same thing because Jairzinho Rozenstruik, I've never really seen him go forward and do what Volkov does, for example. You know what I mean? Uh, where he's just piecing his opponent up and keeping them at his range. When he does win, he's winning by there we go. I just over him. Georgina Rose is like when he has one fight, it's when he's in the gunfight, looks like just throwing wild
mm,
stuff, and then he lands on you. You know what I mean? He's got fantastic kickboxing, but I don't see him use it enough. I don't see him tipping people. I don't see him throwing hard leg kicks. You know what I mean? He just measures you, and then when he sees you throw, he counters, and you often see him go back, head up high, counter, and that's how he lands his knockouts. He's fighting off the back foot, which is
mm,
probably going to be at his advantage because Pavlovich is the kind of guy that rushes forward and like ducks forward when he throws with his right hand. So it may just work in his favor as a counter striker in this fight. Um, but I do give the advantage to Sergei Pavlovich. Yeah, I do think he's a little bit more aggressive. He can grapple if he needs to. He can take you down if he needs to and ground and pound you. He can take the fight into different avenues where Jorginho is like he's overly relying on that ability to counter strike opponents, which is a very dangerous game to play because then what if the opponent decides to just wrestle you? Now you can't counter strike.
mm.
What if the opponent decides to actually have you chase him down and he wants to counter strike you? Now you have to fight a different game, a different style to what you usually train. You know what I mean? So it's something to think about there, and that's what I always noticed about Jones. It's like in his fights in the past is that he relies on that back foot counter. And I don't think it's gonna work. Even though I think that's his best chance in this fight, I don't think it's actually gonna work. Probably which is too he's just too on a different level for something like that.
Yeah. Look, I mean, it's again, it is the heavy, so all kind of bets would be towards a knockout here. But again, I'm just kind of thinking about both of these two men's previous fights have gone to decision, right? So it's Alex Volkov against Pavlovich, and then
Mm-hmm.
Taito Ivasa against Rozenstruik.
Rozenstruik, yeah.
So yeah, I guess that someone's due to go to sleep then. So it has to happen
Mm.
in the next event. That would be what I would say. But yeah, I do think that Rozenstruik, when it comes to technique, he's probably better technically than
Yeah,
Pavlovich. But just again, because it's the heavies, you just need to land one shot, bro. So it's like
game over.
you can have a technically good 2.5 rounds, and then Pavlovich lands one shot, and that's the end of the fight. So I think, like yourself, Pavlovich, the threat is
Yeah.
just too much, and also the ability to wrestle is also going to keep those
Mm.
like on his on guard. So yeah, I
Mhm.
do agree, and that makes us 3-3 here, BG, in terms of calling the
Mhm.
results. So I have to say that the parlay episode is definitely going to be a good one tomorrow, since we are agreeing on all these
Yeah.
fights. It's going to be a
Yeah.
nice easy one, nice easy
Aim for
money.
the
So
props, bro.
everyone, yeah,
That's gonna
be
be
sure to
insane.
tune in for that. But yeah, BG, on this one, any
Mhm.
final thoughts?
It's shaping up to look like it's gonna be a fantastic fight. I mean, it's number 4 versus number 9, and that's gonna there's some stock in this fight, so I'm definitely keen to check that out because obviously if Sergei wins here, you know what I mean. You can call out some big names. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? You can say, listen, give me what's his name, the French dude that shouldn't have won, Cyril Gan.
Slogan,
Say, give
yeah.
me Gan, bro. You know?
Yeah,
I mean
definitely,
that
definitely. So, I mean, this division is a bit of a mess at the moment, with Tom
it is.
Aspinall and John Jones and all that hanging over us. So, yeah, I mean, anyone could get a title shot, really, you know. So,
That's
I
if you
guess
do
Cyril
well,
Gane
yeah.
would be next if John Jones doesn't fight, and then,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
But then they won't.
probably Pavlovich wouldn't be far off, I'd
I
say,
would I would
or
actually
the winner
give
of this fight.
you see Volkov lost that fight against
Yeah,
Silgan, and it was a massive robbery. I would have said give Volkov Tom Aspinall because John Jones is not gonna fight him, but I don't think he's gonna do it. Then you do Volkov, Aspinall, and then do Pavlovich Silgan. They haven't fought yet.
yeah, yeah. But unfortunately, Volkov did lose that fight, so it's wide open now. So
Yes.
yeah, we could be looking at Jairzinho Rozenstruik as the heavyweight champion of the world before the end of 2025. It's not likely, but it's possible. I'm just putting that out there. But of course, as always, ladies and gentlemen, drop a comment there. Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah.
BG, any final
Yeah.
thoughts before we wrap it up here, bro?
Um, I'm just excited to be watching this video and doing it live with you over this weekend with the
Hmm,
boys. So just to let the fans know, we are planning to do a live for this event. Because it is 3 very good fights, and there are some other fights on the card that's piquing my interest a little bit. But I'll save our analysis for that when we do our parlay, give you more details, so you can make a very good, informed decision with your money.
nicely done, BG. Just a reminder that parlay episode is coming up tomorrow. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, if you have made this far, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. Drop a comment as always. But as always, thank you so much for the love and support. And we look forward to bringing you the recap next time on Fighting with Friends.